Okay, these are going to be your notes on photosynthesis. It is chapter 6 in your textbook. Photosynthesis involves energy. Everything that we do with photosynthesis and cellular respiration involves the transfer of energy from one form to the other. So letter or Roman numeral 1, energy is the ability to do work. There are many types of energy. There's heat energy, light, chemical, and electrical are just a few types of energy. In photosynthesis, we take light energy and we're going to build molecules. So photo means light, synthesis means to build or to make. In photosynthesis, we're converting sunlight energy into chemical energy in the form of carbohydrates, which are sugars or starches, etc. That's mainly food. Autotrophs are the organisms responsible for doing photosynthesis, things of plants, everything from mosses to trees. Auto means self, troph is organism. These are also called producers. And an autotroph is the organism able to make its own food, such as green plants. Next you have heterotrophs. Hetero means different, troph is organism. These are also called consumers. And a heterotroph is an organism like you, which are animals or fungus and some protists, some bacteria, and they must get food from different sources such as green plants or consuming other organisms. Finally, you have chemotrophs, and I have a picture of a deep undersea vent over here on this side. This is a chemotroph, or a set of chemotrophs. Chemo means chemical, auto means self, and troph means organism. And in chemoautotrophs, they are organisms that do not rely on the sun as a direct source of their energy, and they are found in places like deep ocean trenches or even in the deep ocean trenches are the best example. We'll just go there. Directly or indirectly, all of our energy comes from the sun. And again, chemoautotrophs are an example of an exception to that, even indirectly. Most of the energy that we're talking about here is coal, oil, gas, or cellular energy. And nuclear is off to the side because while the atoms that make up the reactions that do the nuclear energy might have come from stardust a long time ago, it's not directly linked to our sun. So you have an equation that you need to learn for photosynthesis, and I've got it in a picture form over on the side here as well. In word form, it is carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of sunlight and with chlorophyll, is that bottom blank. Sunlight reacts with the chlorophyll, and it yields food, which is sugar, and oxygen. The chemical equation is 6CO2 plus 6H2O with sunlight is the top blank, yields C6H12O6, which is the food, it's glucose, plus 6O2. Now, plants can make all kinds of other things. It's not just glucose that's made in photosynthesis, but this is a very simplified form of what's going on. In the picture over here, it's the rough outline of how that works. I just want to make you bigger. We have sunlight that comes in and it attaches to the leaves, and you have water. Excuse you, I did not want you bigger. You have water that comes in from the roots, and carbon dioxide also enters in through the leaves as well. And all of that takes place in our plant cell. I'll go through this in a lot more detail, but here's our plant cell. Carbon dioxide comes in from the outside, and it will go into the chloroplast, which is the green box. And it talks, and in this diagram I really like because it's also got mitochondria in the plant cell. Because remember, plants are making food for themselves, but they also have to break down that food in the presence of oxygen, just like animals do, to get the energy that they need from it. And so what is that energy molecule that they need? It is ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. And this is a high energy storage compound. They actually need some ATP to build these molecules. because it's an anabolic reaction, or endergonic, which means it takes energy to make it happen. So we have to make a little bit of energy, and then we're going to spend that energy. So we have a net loss of energy, not a net sum of energy. We also have NAD, which is the base molecule, and then P for phosphate, H for hydrogen. So this is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate hydrogen. It's a big long word. Basically, it's another energy carrying molecule that's going to be involved in this process of photosynthesis. So what happens? We're going to go down to basic steps before I stop today. So you have sunlight, which is white light, and it contains all the colors of the visible spectrum: Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And it can be transmitted in multiple ways. Some of it is reflection, and it's bounced back. This is what you see. Some of it gets transmitted, which means it passes through. Think microscope specimens. We have to transmit light through it in order to see it. And then finally, some of that light is absorbed, and the absorbed light is what's going to fuel photosynthesis. This is light that gets trapped by pigments and therefore are not reflected. The pigments involved in photosynthesis are chlorophylls. Chlorophyll is a green pigment found in the chloroplasts, which are those green oval discs that we saw in plant cells. This means that it absorbs red and blue light, but it will reflect the green light, and that's what we see. There are two main chlorophylls in photosynthesis. However, there are others, as chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. There's also carotenoids, which are yellow, orange, and brown pigments, and they help in photosynthesis by absorbing or capturing more light, so different colors. So if they're reflecting yellow, they're absorbing some green, they're absorbing some red and some blue, and so forth. So I'm going to stop there, and then in my next video I'll go through the parts of the chloroplast and the basic steps.